Well, hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. This is another episode of The Simple Truth. This is a news update of what's going on out there in our world today. And I am bringing you the simple truth as I know it, as I always do. I am your host, Jermaine, and I'm here with you with some very interesting news. The other day, maybe about a week or so ago, there was a topic breached by myself, and I responded mainly to the video series that was given by Pastor Dow that spoke about what color was Jesus. Now, I'm not going to get into that subject again, but during that video series and the comments that came from that and everything that was a part of that, many people spoke volumes of the fact that color doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Color is of no anyone breaches the subject of color, especially when it pertains to black. That many people want to shy away and say color doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, because I truly believe that we have become so homogenized in this society that we have come together, and we want to erase all of the lines of everything so that nothing of any significance in the past means anything as it relates to color. But the mindset for some, maybe even many, has not changed. I came across an article from the New York Daily News, NewYorkDailyNews.com, and I had to speak on it because of this, of the volumes of importance that it has to the relations as it deals with color in our country, even still today, 2012, and these things are still happening, and this one was definitely reported. So the article that I'm speaking about, again, comes from the New York Daily News.com, and the title is "White Grandfather Stopped and Cuffed for Walking Home with His Black Granddaughter." Now, I want to make a point here. This is the headline and the article that was written by the New York Daily News, and they made it specific to let you know that it was a white grandfather and a black granddaughter. Again, for those who want to believe that color plays no factor and is of no significance in our country today, I want you to hear this article and understand that yes, color is still an issue even in 2012. And the article goes on to read, it says, a white grandfather says he wound up in cuffs after being accosted by police after walking home with his black granddaughter. Scott Henson, a former journalist who now researches for and blogs about the criminal justice system, wrote about the experience on his popular blog, Grits for Breakfast. Now, he is a former journalist, and he researches for and blogs about the criminal justice system. Henson, who describes himself as an almost stereotypical looking white Texas redneck, said he was walking home from a skating rink with his 5-year-old granddaughter Ty, who is African American, on Friday night. On the blog, Henson explains the relationship. Ty's mother is his goddaughter, and Henson and his wife often find themselves tasked with unplanned, impromptu babysitting duties like hundreds of other parents and grandparents around Austin. That night, Henson opted to walk home from the rink instead of having his wife come pick up him and Ty. This was a terrible mistake on Grandpa's part, he said. According to the blog post, which was published Saturday, Henson was stopped by a deputy constable who told him that there were reports of a white man kidnapping a black girl. He was ordered to step away from Ty, and the officer began to question the girl. "He's my grandpa," Ty said, according to the blog post. Satisfied, the police officer released Henson and Ty, who continued to walk home until they were stopped again, this time by 5 flashing police cars and a crowd of police. The officers got out with their tasers drawn, demanding I raise my hands and step away from the child, Henson said. I complied, and they roughly cuffed me, jerking my arms up behind me needlessly. Meanwhile, Ty edged up the hillway from the officers, crying. Henson said he provided officers with phone numbers they needed to verify that Ty was his granddaughter, but for quite a while, nobody seemed too interested in verifying my story. Police again questioned Ty, and Henson was eventually released. Corporal Anthony Hippolito of the Austin Police Department verified that Henson was stopped on February 10th as police were searching for a kidnapper who'd allegedly snatched a young black girl nearby. Officers verified that the man was her grandfather through a phone call to her mother, and they were released, Hippolito said to the Daily News. Still, Henson, who has written about a similar experience on his blog before, isn't satisfied. How hard would it have been to perform a safety check without running up on me like I'm John Dillinger and scaring the crap out of a 5-year-old? He also noted that he was released without an apology. I hated for a 5-year-old to be subjected to such an experience, Henson said. I'd like her to view police as people she can trust instead of threats to her and her family, but it's possible. I live in the wrong neighborhood for that. Ladies and gentlemen, couldn't the police officers, or let's say the initial police officer, couldn't he have radioed and let some sort of all clear notice be known that this gentleman was cleared because they had already checked him? And I understand that we are very concerned about the safety of our children. But in this situation, is it necessary to use the force that they did? Now, many will say it's better to be safe than sorry, act aggressively. But then once the situation is brought under control, you see that it was not what they thought it might be, and then give the gentleman the pass as they did. But they could have at least given the man an apology. Let him know that we were just protecting a possible kidnapped young girl. Boy, oh boy, it just goes to show that even when we believe that we are safe, we are actually not, because of the autonomous or even the assertive authority that many of the quote unquote peace officers have. Ladies and gentlemen, it's just food for thought. And this has been the simple truth. And as I always share with you, the simple things are oftentimes the most profound, but yet they are the most difficult to do as well as put into practice. I want to thank you for joining me, and I look forward to sharing more information with you down the road.
Uh-oh, look at him looking.